What's up, guys? Hey, I'm Dustin Ibarra.
And I'm Greg Baldwin.
And we're podcasting.
Yeah!
Yeah, man. Welcome to Good Things Are Happening.
Man, it's good to be here.
Good things are happening, dude.
It's awesome, dude.
It's
awesome,
exciting.
Man.
This is awesome because, like, we're doing this podcast and, like, good things are happening. And then it's like, I feel like we manifested this kind of. What's up, guys? Welcome to Good Things Are Happening. It's a good studio. We had our little meditation.
Yeah, we had a great meditation. First, before we talk about that, I just want to say, man, you know, it's awesome doing this with you. You know why? Because we became good friends, and you're just always a positive person, dude. You know, and it's like when we came up with the idea to do this podcast, I'm like, you know, good things are happening and good positive news stories and stuff, and I just think it's the greatest thing in the world to work with you, man.
Oh man, are you gonna ask me for a kidney? That's what I feel like is gonna happen right now.
No, I'm just stoked
after
on
you
it,
pump
man.
me up, and by the way, I've got liver damage and needs. It's like, oh God, Greg. I would give you a kidney, mate. Oh, I should have said that. Well,
dude, all the drugs I've done, I might need one, dude.
I've eaten a lot of McDonald's. That's bad for kidneys, you know. Sure, heck, you know, maybe I would. We'll flip a coin. But we'll get to that kidney bridge whenever we get.
We were talking about the meditation. We just did a meditation.
Yeah, we did that meditation. That was a good meditation. It was at the Comedy Store too, which I'm glad they do that. Remember, like, it's cool that like a lot of comedy places now are like watching out for comics, you know, like that. It's like, oh, hey, what's going on? You know,
yeah,
because it's such a like partying. It's very conducive to a party atmosphere. You know, where it's like you're doing shows at night, you know, there's free drinks. Yeah. You know, I remember drink tickets. I remember I should have seen this, but things were getting bad for me whenever it's like I would collect every comic who didn't drink. I would just collect their drink tickets and then use them to get drinks.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, where'd you get all these tickets? I'm like, hey, you know, he's not drinking. Why can't I have those, you know?
Yeah. The meditation meeting was started by an organization called Comedy Gives Back.
Yes.
And run by Zoe Friedman.
Zoe's the
our
best.
friend, who's the best.
Yeah.
And they started the meditation meeting and for comedians because comedians have a lot of mental health problems, substance abuse problems. I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. Here we are in a profession where we want to go on stage, make people laugh, and tell us how much people love us.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Like me. Please, just like me. Yeah, you hear the laughs. It's like, approval, you know, there's that hug from dad I never got, you know?
Yeah.
You get all that stuff, man.
Yeah.
So that was a cool meditation. I liked it. It was like, you're an expert meditator.
Yeah.
You're like good at that. I'm still like kind of like figuring out. So I'll pop in. It's like, what am I going to have for lunch?
I've been doing transcendental meditation since 2017. I meditate 20 minutes twice a day. This is mindfulness meditation, and it's taught by a guy named Tim Duffy, who I think is amazing.
Yeah, he was cool.
And you know, it's a different technique where you're more focused on your breath. But I'm curious to see, what did you think about it being, you know, a newish meditator? How did you feel about it?
I felt really good about it. I'm always like, I still think a lot when I meditate. You know, I'm always like, they're like, focus on your breath. I'm like, I'm breathing kind of heavy. Oh, I need to lose weight. Yeah. Whenever he said fill your belly, I'm like, I don't want to fill my belly, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
I know when he said, he goes, feel your belly. I'm like, Jesus, my belly's really hanging over my belt right now.
Like,
I think I gotta go on a diet, dude.
Not eat today. Yeah. But it was good. I like what he was saying, how it's just like a thing you got to do every day. And like, I've been reading this book about habits, and you got to start small with habits and then they get big and stuff. And I want to do that with meditation, you know?
Yeah. It changed my life, man. And, you know, it's really helped me out with depression, anxiety. And, you know, it's really, really changed my life. And I think you benefit. I know you and I are very similar. We're very sensitive guys. And I know.
Yeah, we get the old depression, the old
depression. Yeah. And it's funny because we're such good friends. One day I'll be having a bad day, the world's ending, and I'm never going to amount to anything. And you'll be like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you got this going. And then the next day you're worried about stuff.
Yeah,
and, you know,
it's over, Greg. It's over for me, man.
Yeah, it's over. Yeah. But it's funny because the meditation today, they talked about identifying those thoughts and just being a witness. And I've heard in the past, not all your thoughts are true. And then you mentioned, thinking too much in meditation. When I went to my teacher one time and I said, I don't think I'm doing it right because I can't stop thinking. And she said to me, she goes, Greg, I think that could be a perfect meditation because your body and your mind is releasing stress and anxiety. And so embrace those thoughts, allow them to come and to flow through you, which I thought was really good. But
I want to be able to move things with my mind.
Yeah.
That's why I want to get to the meditation level where I can just be like,
like move a fork, bend a fork.
Yeah, bend a fork, dude, or a spoon, Yeah. Either one of that, just bend something.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do, bro.
But we're on a great journey together, man, and it's.
I love it, Greg. I love awesome. Positivity. Good things are happening.
Good things are happening. Man. It's a good area for you and I. And
it is, man.
Today's guest is he's one of my closest friends.
Excited about this.
I know it's awesome, man, and he's a really super positive, always positive. At least around me, he's always positive. Always has good things to say. He was a TV host. He's a TV host. He's a DJ. I grew up watching this dude on MTV. He was a VJ on MTV, and I was at a event. I was doing some public speaking, and he came up to me after, and he said, he goes, hey man, I'm Matt Pinfield, and I'm like, I know who you are, dude. I know who you are, and we've been inseparable ever since, man. And so please welcome today our guest today, one of the great, just a legend, music legend, Matt Pinfield.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me. Good to see you guys. Hey, it's funny. It's really nice. People call me a legend or an icon. You're still not always comfortable with it because you're like, what, really? Sure, sure, that's what I am. But I'm very grateful that you say that and that people say really nice things. I'm so grateful to be able to do what I love to do and be around music. And I have been for if you count college radio, it's like 44 years I've been doing radio for.
Dude, that's awesome.
And it's been funny because I cleaned out a storage unit and been finding old tapes of myself on the radio in college. I even found a tape of me at 16. It was I so wanted to be on the radio, and there wasn't. Obviously there were. You had whatever radio stations were in your area, and there were probably like 7 TV channels, and cable was pretty new, and there was 16 years old, there was a pledge drive to be on the Rutgers College radio station. And, my friends were calling up and, pledging so that I could stay on the air and I was dedicating songs to them. And, it's all I ever wanted to do, from the time I was a kid. So I'm very, very grateful that I'm still out here, and I nearly could have destroyed it, with my battles with alcoholism and drug addiction. But, you know what? The positive thing is that I'm here and I'm alive and I can do it, and I can do it sober, and I love it.
Was there a moment when you were a kid, like a defining moment where you heard a song or that you knew music was going to be a part of your life?
Well, it was always around me from the time I was a kid, like 3 years old. My parents, they didn't have a lot of money. My dad was a school teacher, adopted my brother with my mom. My mom had gotten divorced from her first, but they dated when they were like 13, and he moved to California. He was in the Korean War. He was a Marine, came back. And when he came back, he and my mom found each other again. And, so there was always music around my house, even though we didn't have a lot of money. They bought like a used record player for 45s for 7-inch vinyl singles. And, so there was always music playing in the house. But there was a moment when I was 5 years old in 1966 when I was driving with my father to a hardware store, and I'm listening to the AM radio, and it was the summer that all these songs were on the air. Painted Black by the Stones, Sunny Afternoon by the Kinks, Summer in the City by Love and Spoonful, Sunny by Bobby Hebb, Sunshine Superman by Donovan, Paperback Writer by the Beatles, stuff like that. It was just, I knew that I wanted to be around music 24/7, and it was hard to go to school because all I wanted to do was come home and play my records.
Yeah.
I was like, all I could think about was songs all day. You know how people can take music with them now wherever they want? That wasn't happening back then. You had record players, and if you could afford, a tape player in your car, I think even at that period, most people only had radios. So I knew then that music was going to be like completely. It was going to. encircle me and my entire life. And, I've been obsessed with music ever since.
Yeah.
And
you're a human encyclopedia. Dustin, what's your early, exposure?
I feel like, your music is my McDonald's. Like the first time I had a chicken nugget, I was like, I'm gonna do this forever. Yeah, this is gonna be with me till I'm old. Yeah.
What's your favorite sauce?
Oh my god. Yeah. Where do I begin, Greg? No, that's super cool. Like having the music in the house. I was really lucky because my grandma, she was in a band. She played Western Swing, Bob Wills, and the Texas Playboys.
Oh, that stuff is great,
dude. Yeah. So growing up, she was always going to a gig, and we're always going to like a bar, like some Western Swing place, and it was very cool. But I wasn't into Western Swing. I was into like Michael Jackson and stuff like that. And she's like, that's not music. And she would get on to me and everything. And I would always wear gloves, so it would like piss her off and stuff. But like the older I get, I'm like, oh man, I'm glad that her music, I'm glad that was like around growing up.
But you wore the Michael Jackson glove?
Oh, dude, I wore it all the time, bro. There's a picture of me as a kid on the picture day. I had the Michael Jackson glove.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great. How old were you?
I was a youngster, probably like 10.
Yeah. See, that's great. See, I
was really into it. Yeah.
I remember we had one of those little phonograph, the 45 players, the 45 records. And I remember I was listening, my brother bought Eric Clapton, Lay Down Sally. And I remember I was probably 4 or 5 years old. What year? You probably know. What year did that come out?
That was that had to be mid 1970s. So I'm guessing.
So I was probably like 5 years old. Yeah. And I played it over and over again, and I danced by myself on the table. Lay Down Sally by Eric Clapton over and over again. Yeah. Now as an adult, I hear that song and I can't listen to it anymore because I hate it. But that was my first experience. And then I started going to concerts when I was in 6th grade. My first concert was Black Sabbath Mob Rules tour, and I think it was 6th or 7th grade. What was the first concert that you went to?
First concert was the one my parents took me to, Don McLean's American Pie, which I love the song, but he was really not exciting live. And I don't like to say negative things about artists, but I mean, it was just like, it didn't like rock enough. So I don't consider that my first real concert. My first real concert was a succession of ones that my brother took me to. Jethro Tull, War Child, Queen, Not at the Opera at a theater. That was when I saw Queen Not at the Opera. They just released Bohemian Rhapsody. They were playing like 3 or 4 nights at the Beacon Theater in the middle of winter, like February of 1976. And it blew my mind. Watching Freddie Mercury perform and Brian May and that band, I was just like, and I was in the nosebleeds. I like next to the last row. And it was such an incredible experience that I've never forgotten it. And I still say it's one of my favorite concerts. I've been to thousands by now, right? But that Queen show will always blow me away. And I saw Aerosmith around the same time. I saw David Bowie in 76, Station to Station, and Bad Company. And, I saw a bunch of things over in those years. There'd be triple bills where it'd be like Cheap Trick, Rush, and UFO on one bill. Judas Priest, where they'd have 5 feet to perform. They were the opening act before they had leather. I just saw all these shows. And then I got into punk and new wave. So I saw the Clash and all those bands too.
What was your first concert?
My first Muppet Babies concert.
Dude, you remember it. That's the great thing. Right?
I remember the Muppet Babies. It actually might be my very first memory as a human. Wow. Like I remember just seeing the Muppet Babies. I remember I wanted to say hi to little Kermit, but Fozzie came to my section. I cried, and that's like all I remember.
That's incredible.
But did you cry from the excitement? Or
no, I cried because Fozzie scared me.
Oh, scary.
Which is weird too, because he's a stand-up comic, and now I'm a stand-up comic. But it's like, something's going on.
Isn't it wild? Like I remember when Chuck E. Cheese, the electric band, the band would freak my kid out, and she would like want to run to the door and get out of the Chuck E. Cheese.
It's a lot for a kid, This child, like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yeah,
they're getting rid of those now, right?
I know. I think they are for scaring kids.
Yeah. They're getting rid of the animatronics, man.
Yeah.
So you've had an illustrious career. You started your breakthrough where you started making national recognition came from getting hired on MTV. Do you remember what happened when you got hired there?
Yeah. I mean, I came from a background of radio. I'd done college radio. Then I did a commercial radio station in the Asbury Park, New Jersey area. Bruce Springsteen, of course. And I got to know some people in the MTV music department from going out to shows in New York. And I read in a music trade that Dave Kendall, the host of 120 Minutes, was no longer doing the show. So I called him up and I said, hey, dude, what's going on with that? And he goes, oh, Dave left. I go, hey, man, maybe you guys, and I was totally naive, never thinking for a minute that they would ever consider me a bald guy who was fat, short, and was losing his hair. I mean, I was pretty much gone, but I mean, I wasn't smart enough to shave the sides yet. Or actually, by then, I probably had, because there was no way they would have put me on TV. I always joke. I'm like, if I hadn't shaved that, this guy Skip showed up at the bar I was working at. He goes, dude, do you ever think about shaving your head? And I'm like, yeah, I thought about it. Why? He goes, you look so much cooler. I go, really? And I was spinning. He goes, listen, if you come and play me, I'll bring a razor. You play 5 ska songs for me, and I'll shave your head in the basement of the bar. And that's what we and that's what we did. So thank you, Skip. But cool. Isn't that funny? So yeah, but then I said to him, hey, you guys need somebody like that the bands will respect and who loves the music and knows. And it wasn't to say anything about past hosts. It was because they're all great, but it was just that I, made that comment in passing that whoever they hired next. And he goes, well, I don't know if you'll be in the demo still, but I'll talk to him. It's funny because I ended up working there. And you know what? But he said, I'll call you in a week. Calls me back an hour later. Says, hey, they said you should come in for an audition. Wow. And I was so nervous. I had cotton mouth. I wore a Morrissey shirt with a rip in it. Like I wasn't thinking, because I'm a radio guy, I wasn't thinking I'm on TV. You know what I mean? Like, there's a hole in my shirt. But it worked out. I got the opportunity to be on there with Depeche Mode. They had some bands hosting, and the bands, some of them didn't want to host. And Depeche Mode, they were like, no, we're not hosting. So that was the deal. And that was the first time he did it in 93. And eventually I got hired to be in the music department, where I picked the videos and worked on the specials, the unplugs, and everything else with everybody. It was a beautiful, beautiful time, because I was part of the crew, but I was, programming, things like Headbangers and Yo MTV Raps and 120 Minutes and Alt Nation. Wow, and to have that behind the scenes experience was absolutely amazing at that time.
I mean, you've played a huge influence on the music world for so many people. It's incredible. It's funny because like when we go out and we do stuff together, I'm with Daryl Hammond all the time, and people recognize him a lot, but you get recognized more than anybody I work with. It's like it's because people grew up watching you on TV.
And I think, at that period of time in the 90s, a lot of people were latchkey kids too. And people would say to me, I was raised by you on MTV. And it was amazing. Recently, I had cataract surgery and glaucoma surgery. We get old, as you know. Yeah. And I'm like laying there in recovery. And the guy who did my eyes, because I really needed them, I couldn't see anymore. He's done RuPaul's and Steven Tyler's eyes and stuff. And he literally goes to me after this, goes, dude, I never saw people get more excited than when you were here in the surgery center. And it was because the people there were the right age, I guess. I'm just grateful that people care and that I had any kind of inspiration or was able to turn them on to music, because that's all I cared about as a kid. I just wanted to turn people on to music. I bring records to school. Hey, you got to hear Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. You got to hear this. You know what I mean? It was like
cool, man.
Here's my philosophy of why people get so excited to see you. And because music changes lives. People use music to go through breakups, to go through loss of loved ones, to celebrate and feel good about great things that have happened in their lives. And it's so important, and music is so important for all of us. And then you're affiliated with that, and you're involved in their musical life. I mean, how do you feel that music has helped you with your personal life?
Oh my God, it's everything to me, guys. It got me through everything, every breakup, every lost job, even moments that I celebrated, things that my best memories and some of the most painful ones. Music has been the soundtrack. It continues to be. Like, I don't wake up a day without a song playing in my head. You can ask my girlfriend. I'm like, I got this song in my head this morning. It's like there's something inside me that music has always been the thing that's driven me. I love it so much. And I think, I'm just very grateful that I had a platform as big as MTV and the radio stations that I've been on over the years, where I could share that love of music. Like, because to me, that's what it was about. And you talk about doing positive things. I never wanted to be the asshole guy. Like there've been a couple things where they use something in a documentary and it like fits their narrative at the moment. And I might say something like, offhanded, and it's really, that's not who I am. I don't like to be that guy. I try to be super positive. Like if I don't have something really positive to say about an artist, I don't want to say it. And the reason is, I love music so much, and I understand the people that are putting their blood on the tracks. That's their work. And, you know, I want to be the guy who helps people, their music, get to others so they can make that connection. And
that's cool,
you
man.
know?
Yeah. Because I'm not into like people who shit on other people.
I hate that.
Like in any kind of art, really. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like comics and I'm like, oh, why is that funny? But I'm not going to shit on and be like, hey, don't watch this guy or like talk about him. It's just like, oh, it's not my thing. Might be someone else's thing.
That's how I always looked at it. And, you know, some people used to say, well, he seems to like everything. I'm like, actually, I do. I like a lot of things, not everything. And some things I love more than others. But I always believe that taking a positive approach to interviewing an artist was the most important thing, because their fans want to get something out of it. And as a person who grew up and watched interviews on TV when there wasn't much music on TV, and a lot of the interviewers obviously didn't know anything about the bands or the music or care, that was like disappointing to somebody who like loved that record or that song. Yeah. You know? So I wanted to be different. And I'm not the only one out there who has that kind of passion. There are a lot of great people out there in radio, in music. You know, I wish there were more outlets for a lot of the people, because a lot of stuff is contracted, but certainly I'm very grateful. And, you know, and I mean that when I say it every day, that I still, you know, I'm on the radio nationally, you know, and locally on KLOS, because I love that I can be on the radio in the city I live in, Los Angeles, where I'm really an active part of what's going on musically all the time. I'm always out at shows. And I like to help local bands and just people like get from one point A to point B. So it's just, I love it. I can't, you know.
I remember my grandma died. You know? Cool. My grandma died like, I don't know, 30 years ago or something. And I was listening to Boys to Men. How do I?
Oh my God!
Say goodbye.
That's a tough
and I listened to it like 30 times in a row, and finally my girlfriend is like, "Will you stop? Like, will you turn that song off? I know your grandma died, but Jesus, come on."
Yeah, you know? I'm very like that with music too. Like I'll repeat the same one over and over and over.
Oh yeah,
dude! I remember my first like little CD player, portable CD player. Mm-hmm. I had that STP album, the Purple album.
Oh, it's one of the greatest.
Dude, I love that. And I would just keep repeating the Interstate Love song.
One of the best. I mean, it's so good. You know,
Scott Weiland was one of the best performers in history, man.
Yeah, that was incredible. My first real concert, Scott Weiland. I saw STP at a Family Values tour with Linkin Park, Stained, and I think Static X was there.
Wayne Static, who passed away, which is sad. But that's a great bill. I love the STP guys.
Talk about a front man.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. You know? Yeah, bro.
Well, one of the best. Like even on the nights when he was like struggling and he wasn't at his best, he was still better than 800 other people doing the same thing, because when he was firing on like 40%, he just had such amazing swagger, and it was a sad, unbelievably sad loss. It's very, it's close to me in my life, because, you know, not only did I do a lot of work with STP, one of the first people ever to play him on the radio in the country, when Dean DeLeo, the guitarist. Oh yeah, he drove up in a delivery truck, because Dean and Robert DeLeo are from New Jersey originally, right? They grew up in Point Pleasant, and I was running that radio station on the Jersey Shore at that point, music director and program director, and Dean pulls up in a delivery truck. He still, remember, this is when Core wasn't just about to be released, or it was just coming out. He just got copies of it. Dean DeLeo, and he literally comes up and goes, "Matt, you remember me from the Jersey scene?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, I do." I go, "Of course, Dean, what's going on?" He goes, me and Robert got signed to Atlantic Records. We got our first album, Core. He goes, "Will you play it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, come in." And we were like, you know, this radio station is in a house, even though it was like, the perception was, it was like, you know, because it was all over. People loved the station, very influential. He comes in, I put on like Sex Type Thing, Wicked Garden, and I think amazing. Plush, or one of those songs, or Creep. Before it was even a year later, they're the biggest band in the country. Like, you know, Plush is #1. Yeah. But I love those guys. And, you know, look, my girlfriend, Kara, you know, she was married to Scott's guitarist, and and he sadly passed away, and so did Scott shortly after that. So, it's we've got that connection to STP in our household, and I have a purple 4 times platinum record on the wall.
Oh my gosh,
which you'll have to come over and check out. It's
I would
cool.
love to, man.
But what a record to start with. That was such a great era of music, and it was always there were so many great bands coming out. It was like every other, literally. Yeah. Like every day or every week. Sometimes we were like, 1 week you'd have Soundgarden, Chili Peppers, Nirvana, all dropping albums the same week. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was unbelievable.
I just remember that music video too, and the guy with the long nose. And his nose kept getting like he would lie.
Yeah.
Like,
isn't that like? I mean, when you think about like just how great those records that you started with, they leave a blueprint. They say that a lot of things that we loved from the ages. For me, it's like, I've always been a kid. I'm a kid at heart always. So, but they say that a lot of things that you discover from like 10 to 13 really have a major effect on your musical taste for the rest of your life.
Did, man.
And those are the things. But I love that you guys play songs over and over, because that's what I do. I love one. It's like I want to hear it over and over.
Yeah, we burn them. We burn them. Right?
We burn them.
I burn it. I'll listen to it 47,000 times, and then I can never listen to it again.
That's like me being an addict, man. That was my first thing. Just I want this again and again and again and again and again.
More again.
Yeah, but dude, I remember those music videos, because I remember seeing you on MTV, man.
And you're probably like, why did they put on this short, fat bald dude? What's up with this guy?
Nobody's ever thought that.
I was a kid too, and I remember you were like, you were this, because I didn't know anything about music or anything, but Matt Pinfield, MTV. I think you were on Celebrity Deathmatch, right?
I was too. Yes.
Dude, I remember that.
And I did win the fight, even though Mills Lane killed Jesse Camp, and Jesse's a sweetheart. But it was like me versus, and it wasn't even my voice; it was another guy going.
What? It wasn't your voice.
It wasn't. No, it's so funny that because they wouldn't tell you if you won. They didn't let people know till afterwards. But I do have one of my clay Celebrity Deathmatch characters. They gave me one, and it's in like a thing of
who'd you fight?
Like a plastic glass. Jesse Camp, one of the other VJs who came a little later on during Wanna Be a VJ. Yeah, and like we did, like it was a, and then he was like not kind of like out of it on the ground, and then Mills Lane killed him. And I go, why'd you do that? Yeah, it was like my judgment. It was an incredible, what a great time it was. No, but seriously, it was so much fun. And, they said to me, man, you are like your Q rating. I didn't even know what the hell that meant, really. I knew what radio ratings were because I went to radio. I guess it was something that they did where they,
or something?
It's likability or like whatever. And they, but the point was, I remember they said to me, dude, you have the highest Q rating and the least burn. And, they go, one of my bosses told me, Judy McGrath, who I loved, she was the president of the company. She goes, and I don't mind telling you that because I know you're not going to try to put us over a barrel. And it wasn't because I wasn't, I was just, I was so grateful.
Your agent was.
Oh, man. It's funny. When I first got to MTV, guys, I came out of a, Jersey Shore radio. I was like, where do I sign?
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean? Sign away my firstborn? I already had my firstborn, but you can have the second.
That's what happens at the beginning. That's what happens at the beginning of your careers, right? Your first
you guys
movie,
those comedians, right?
Oh, bro, yeah,
you get burned,
Sometimes, even now, it's like my manager's like, I'm going to go back and ask for more. I'm like, oh, just be careful. I want to work.
Don't lose it.
Don't let him find out I suck.
No, you guys, it's funny. We always have a thing. It's like I learned my lesson a long time ago because I'm really, everybody's terrible at negotiating for themselves. Some people aren't, but it's good if you have somebody else handle that business for you.
Dude, I've been telling you, man, you need a good agent.
Well, it's funny. My first manager ever was a comedy manager. It's Dave Becky from 3 Arts.
Are you serious?
Yeah, who's now one of the biggest producers in comedy and manages. Obviously, Kevin Hart and Chris Rock. Dave,
Bill Burr.
So the thing was, Dave and I were we met through a friend of mine, Michelle Dix, who got hired the day I got hired at MTV, who came from Letterman and worked in the music department. And I met him through just talking about music. And I was like leaving to go work for Jimmy Iovine, and my boss, Andy Schoenigan, who was one of my mentors, who I love dearly. So I was going, and I'm like, I got to do this differently. I got to get somebody. So I called Dave, and Dave, can you please, will you do this for me? And he was like, he was so cool. And I remember 3 Arts, his partners are going, well, we usually don't represent people that aren't in comedy or writer or whatever. He goes, but we think you're cool. You're a good fit. So I did it. They managed me for a while until I got so into working at Columbia Records and the record company thing that I was doing a little less TV stuff at that period of time. But we're still dear to friends. And I really appreciate it because Dave did, he worked on, my deal with Universal and my deal with Sony Music. And thank God. Thank God, because I would have been like, what, 5 cents? 5 cents? Sure. So there you go. I'll pay for my own bus fare.
You've interviewed everybody. Everybody in the music industry you've interviewed. Are there any particular interviews that really stood out to you?
The Rolling Stones was unbelievable because I was asked to do the Stones when they put out not this last record, Hackney Diamonds, which was really good. Actually, this latest album I like a lot. It was the album before it, where the last one where they did all original material called A Bigger Bang, 2005. And they had heard me doing U2. I had just done U2, How to Dismantle an Atomic Bomb in front of a live audience with like 300 people. And it was me and all the U2 guys on stage. That was also brilliant. I've had these U2 experiences that are like pinch me. But yeah, the Rolling Stones with all 4 of their band members. What was so cool about it was we were doing it live. So I've done like so many interviews that, like you name it, from like Foo Fighters to Dave Matthews to McCartney. I've interviewed so many people that I love, some of my idols. But what's cool about that thing was it was live. So we were on the radio live through what would be now iHeart, but it was like Clear Channel then. And so we were playing their songs. So it's just me in a room with the Stones when the songs are on. You know what I mean, guys? And I'm just like talking about like, hey, you remember that time you played the Jersey Capitol Theater when some girls came out and they're like, yeah. And they were like literally the nicest, coolest guys ever. They were like never acting like, yeah, whatever. None of that shit. They were so fucking cool, the Stones. They were like, I started conversations with, I even said to Mick, I go, Mick, tell me about that B-side, Child of the Moon of Jumpin' Jack Flash. And I asked, and he was like so cool. It started a conversation between him and Keith and then Charlie. It was brilliant. So that's one of my favorites. McCartney was also one of my favorites.
You interviewed McCartney, a Beatle.
Yeah. So I did Paul McCartney for his album New in about 2013 or 14. And he was just so awesome. It was the second time that I had met him because I met him in 1999. And I was afraid to meet him. You know what I mean? Like I literally was afraid to meet him. Yeah. At this party for Buddy Holly's birthday, he owned the publishing of Buddy Holly's songs, and my friend said, "No, he knows who you are. Go meet him." But when I got to interview McCartney and do an album with special with him, and it was beautiful because one of the greatest things ever said to me was at the end of the interview, he goes, "Matt, if it wasn't my wedding anniversary to Nancy, you and I would go to the pub and keep talking about rock and roll." And I'm like,
"Oh man,
it's Paul McCartney."
How do you still yourself for that? Like, how do you just because do you get nerves before that, and you're just I just gotta do it?
I've gotten over those nerves. When I was younger, I sometimes some of the interviews, like I would be there with my little tape recorder, like going to New York City to interview The Cure, or like, and I would be a little nervous at those points. But I always kind of felt the good thing for me. I was very grateful. I felt like I belonged there. Like I think that was the thing that was good for me, and I got over my nerves. You know what I mean? And so I'm grateful to say, I was a kid in the nosebleeds at Madison Square Garden. I've walked on that stage like 20 times introducing bands from the Gorillaz to Muse to Kings of Leon. I'm so grateful I've had those experiences that are like surreal.
Yeah.
And the most surreal was obviously David Bowie for me because, he was one of my heroes. Him as, Steven Tyler. I loved all that stuff, growing up and actually becoming friendly with those guys. And then having Bowie ask me for advice. And so then, cool. There are just moments where, I look back and I just say, oh my God, man, you know what? When you're in a shitty mood and when you're feeling down, try to remember exactly how many great things you've actually been able to do. I've had a really blessed life.
Yeah. You've had one happen recently. For your birthday, you were hosting a festival. And somebody dedicated the song to you. Who was it? And what happened?
Yeah, this was one of the greatest birthday presents of all time. I do some work. I do some stuff for Danny Wimber Presents. We have a TV show called Power Hour. It used to be on Twitch, which is on hiatus at the moment, but it's such a fun show to do. And we were backstage shooting, and it happened to be my birthday, Columbus, Ohio, May 28th this year. And they surprised me that they were going to give me a cake. Like everybody who worked at DWP. It's a great festival organization. Danny Wimmer is a guy who was from Jacksonville, came up with Limp Bizkit, and knew all those guys. And I've known them because I have family there. Anyway, so getting back to the festival thing, they gave me a cake. And Dave came out during that. Dave Grohl to actually surprise me during the cake.
Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters.
Yeah, so that was amazing. That he came out even for my birthday cake with the rest of the staff backstage. But I was watching Foo Fighters and it was one of their first shows with Josh Freese after Taylor passed away. So it was very emotional anyway. And I'm standing on the platform, and my girlfriend Kara comes up, and my co-host of the show Josh, they're like, "Hey Matt, you gotta come downstairs." I'm like, "No, I like where I'm standing right now." They're like, no, come downstairs now. So I literally went downstairs. We're standing on the side of the stage, and Dave introduces Josh Freese. I'm gonna quickly take a sip of this. Sorry guys.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that cake.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about McNuggets. What are you talking about?
It's carrot cake, dude. I love carrot cake.
Carrot cake. I don't like vegetables, but that gets a pass.
Yeah.
Carrot cake, bro.
That's it.
Nice.
You gotta love carrot cake. It's sweet.
So, what song did he dedicate to?
Well, you know what it was? He just literally surprised me by, saying, wishing me a happy birthday and saying how long I've known the band. I've been friends with them, and it was a beautiful dedication. And he dedicated My Hero to me. And so let's do it for Matt, because he goes, this guy's been through, that motherfucker's been through a lot of shit. He's talking about being hit by a car and alcoholism and addiction and everything.
We'll get to those two things. But there's a video out with you where on the internet of the actual video of Dave Grohl. It was dedicating the song "My Hero" to you, and with you showing you on the side stage. What an incredible experience! There now out there. I want to switch gears a little bit.
Changed my life, man. I mean, every time that I think about great moments, that was one of my favorites. It's one of the greatest birthday moments. So you have a lot of things you remember. You know what I mean? When your kids are born, when you heard a certain record, a concert you saw, but that was beautiful. One of the best.
There's the Killers. There's a band called the Killers. They have a song, a very popular song. You had some influence on the lyrics on that, didn't you? What happened?
Well, yeah. So I wrote a book called All These Things That I've Done, which is named after the Killers song. That was inspired by my evening with the Killers. I was trying to sign them to Columbia Records when I was, vice president of A&R there. I heard their demo. I was on a Virgin train from Manchester, England to London to see another band. And the guy who was found in 1975 and a bunch of other bands back, this is way before that, obviously. I was going to see one band to sign and another band down in London. And he had, an iPod, because iPods were still very popular at this period of time in the early 2000s. And he goes, "Hey, man, you ever hear the Killers?" I'm like, "No, who are they?" He goes, "Somebody gave me this burned CD at South by Southwest." And he goes, "It's cool. Check this out." And I put on the headphones and I hear "Smile Like You Mean It." And then Mr. Brightside. And I go, "Who are these guys? I got to find this band. They're not signed." And I was I was like in love with it and obsessed. And it took me a while to find out where they were from, because he didn't remember at that period of time, or he did know. I just think he got really busy with other stuff. And he was in England too, working for another company.
What was the song that?
So the song here's the story. It ended up, the U.S. Army sent me a letter because of my MTV years at Columbia Records and said, "Look, there are soldiers coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. We're having a music mentoring program and like a battle of the bands, and we need some people here that they really care about and respect." And they go, the Army, and they invited me to Colorado City, Colorado, and I spent the weekend with a bunch of soldiers, some wounded, some not, coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan. And it was just such a moving, incredible experience. I went right from there. I found out the Killers were in Vegas, and I flew to Las Vegas. And their manager and their lawyer picked me up at the airport, brought me to Ronnie Vannucci's house, the drummer. I watched them play in their garage. They were playing those songs that ended up on Hot Fuss in their garage. And I was blown away. And I just ran into them recently this summer. And they're like, "Yeah, remember you were up against the washer and dryer."
What's the song and what's the lyric?
All right. Well, the thing is, all these things that I've done, because later that night, I got in Brandon Flowers' car. He dropped me off at my hotel after we had dinner. And I told him the story about the U.S. Army reaching out to me. And he went home. And also other things are going on in my life. He went home and wrote the whole song. But that whole bridge, I got soul, but I'm not a soldier, is from that experience.
I got soul, but I'm not
which is a great bridge. And
right?
you know, we talked about it. He and I
That's
recently.
about you.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. I mean, what a gift that is. So they didn't sign with me because they signed with Island Def Jam, and they called me, Matt. We're sorry, man, but we ended up doing the deal with Island Def Jam, which I understood. My friend Rob Stevenson signed him, and Lear Cohen, was like the chairman. He was ready to write the man a check. And so for me, you couldn't argue with that. My bosses were into it, but they were a little late. So, but I got a song out of it.
That's
amazing.
Man.
That's like part of you've already been part of history, but that's like just another feather in the cap.
And I love those guys so much, and we've kept a strong relationship going on. And you know how you guys always talk about this on this show about being positive. People used to say to me at the label, some people are like, "How can you still talk to those guys? They didn't sign you." I'm like, dude, I love their music, and
they wrote a song. They got a song about you, dude.
Yeah, it was one of those things.
Let's take a minute to support our advertisers. If you hear the products being advertised,
Oh yeah, we don't have any.
oh man.
But if you'd like to be a sponsor, go to our website, goodthingspod.com, drop us an email, and we'd love to advertise what you're making.
If you hear the advertisements, support who advertises us. That's the way we stay afloat. The one of the things I want to talk about is your music history is phenomenal. It's incredible, and these are the stories of why you're a legend in the music industry, and you've impacted so many people. It's public knowledge because you've been public about it that you've recovered from drug and alcohol addiction and are in recovery. The last time you went to rehab, there was a big article about you in the Rolling Stone. And a lot of people banded together and did a fundraiser to put you through rehab. It's just incredible. What happened and how does that make you feel?
Well, I'll tell you what happened was, it was time. I was a chronic relapser for many years. I tried to put some time together and then something like some anxiety or something or life event would happen. And, I'd pick up a drink again. Drinks could lead to other things, to drugs. So I was, this was like a period during the pandemic, and I was drinking again, and my friends heard me on the phone slurring, and they were like, dude, we got to get you some help. So one of my friends, Chris Rivero, he called up a bunch of people that like friends, best friends, people I was going to, I'd work with over the years, and they banded together and, they were like, hey, we're going to figure out a way to get you to rehab. And it was crazy because I was like, who do I have to pay back? And he goes, oh no, we're doing a GoFundMe. I'm like, what? You can't do a GoFundMe during a pandemic? That's crazy. You can't ask people for money. That's, I didn't care that people knew. People already knew that I had an issue. I'd been struggling for years. What was so beautiful about it was like all those people that got together, not just the musicians and my people I'd worked with or bosses or coworkers, but all the people that were fans. And whether it was like, a fan that could donate $10, which is just so generous during that period of time, or anything. And then, whether it's like a rock star or somebody like that, like Brent Smith from Shinedown or Perry Farrell from Jane's Addiction or Ben Mont from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. All those dudes were Johnny Resnick from the Goo Goo Dolls. I couldn't believe those guys all banded together and did that. And then,
so cool.
Yeah. And so, you know what? I've been sober ever since, because I'll be damned. One day at a time I do it, but
That's how we met, man.
Yeah.
That's how we met. We met at a recovery meeting. Yeah. And, we had a lot of, I'm a radio guy. I came up in radio, and we had a lot of mutual friends. He came up and you're like, hey, I'm Matt Pinfield. I'm like, I know who you are, dude.
Yeah. You know what I said too? I heard you were speaking that day, and I said, dude, you're in comedy, aren't you? Because you were so funny. He was so awesome. And the message was real and great, as it is, but I love comedy so much. So I immediately went, and then we just became like the best of friends. We were hanging out all the time, and Greg's been very, very instrumental in being a part of my recovery, and I'm so grateful for that. And you, Greg, it's fucking nice to be sober. I get to laugh with you guys and do the part. And I'm sitting
in here with two of my best friends. You know?
Yeah, man.
Dustin and I.
You could get 2 kidneys.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I saved one for him as well. I didn't destroy it.
Yeah,
but it's going.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, I got sober right after the pandemic, and like, dude, yeah, it's amazing. I got help from this organization called Comedy Gives Back, because I was like, rehab. I was like, you know, this is gonna cost a lot of money. I can't do this, but like, I had. There's this comic that helped me out and got me in there, and it's been great ever since, you know, because I had that same thing. I wasn't even a relapser because I couldn't get any days. You know what I'm saying? I was just one of those dudes. I didn't start drinking till later on in comedy, probably like 5 or 6 years in. It's a very slow progression. But then when I eventually went hard, and then the drugs came along, and it's like, you're getting fired from gigs and stuff, and you're just like, the depression and the anxiety, and you're like, the only thing that'll make this go away is the drink, you know? Yeah. And then it's like, I needed that physical separation. So when I went to rehab, it was like the best thing I ever did in my life, because it gave me that physical separation. And then I like worked a program in there, and it's something that I still do today, man. And then you meet great people, you know, like you guys met Greg, and it's just it's great having good friends that support you, and that you have that thing in common, you know, like, oh, he gets it. He gets what this is.
It's like surviving a plane crash and being some of the survivors. You know, for me, and I'm so grateful to be a part of recovery. I love it so much. I met some of the greatest people in my life through recovery, and I've learned to, you know, like accept responsibility for things that have happened in my past. I've also learned to forgive myself for those things, because they're just like the things you talked about, you know, getting fired from gigs, and, you know, when you're not showing up, and, you know, just stuff that happens. And, you know, I take it one day at a time, and I'm very, very grateful. But I remember all the time that I see these unbelievable people walking through life on life's terms, and like having things happen to them, because, you know, if things don't, I mean, you know, life doesn't stop happening. You know, there's good and bad days, and there's things you have to battle, like depression and anxiety, which you mentioned. But man, I just look at the examples that my friends, you know, how they march through it, and it blows me away. I'm so grateful to have found the support and the support group of people, and I love being sober, and that's why I'm so positive, and that's why, you know, I use social media to post about it. I'm not like hiding it. I have no shame in it, because I want other people to know they can stop, and they can stop, you know, when they're in their late 50s, like I did. I mean, it took me a long time, but I'm very, very grateful, and, you know, I don't take any day for granted, and I just want to be of service to people and hang out with great people. I mean, life is so much better for me since I got sober. I'm there. I'm like present.
Yeah, I'm like that too. Like, I want people to know that I'm sober. Like, I'll be out at a comedy club or something, and I'll be like, yeah, I'll have a water. They're like, you want it in this glass, like a cocktail glass? I'm like, no, I don't want people to think I'm drinking. Take that umbrella out, man. Give me
right. No, it's weird. It's weird.
Of water.
Yeah, especially when it looks like you're like, dude. How about people are like, hold my drinks, hold 2 drinks, and you're like,
Oh my God, dude! Yeah, because sometimes my girlfriend, she's like, she can handle it, you know. Yeah. And sometimes I'll be holding the drink, and I'm like, oh God, no one look at me.
Yeah, you know what? I think it's funny, Dustin, because, you know, that's the thing. We're all for supporting everyone to live their lifestyle the way they want to live it, as long as they can do what they can do in moderation. But I have no influence over anybody else, but I want to be a positive influence by example, and that's really what it comes down
to. There's a lighthouse doesn't go out in the oceans look in the ocean looking for boats.
Yeah,
you know, so we just sit here, we turn our light on, and people can find us. But I'm like you guys, man. I'm not ashamed that I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. And, you know, listen, I made some poor choices, and I've done some things that I'm probably not proud of when I was drinking and using. But it's an illness, you know, and it's like, people are like, oh, just stop. Well, you know what? If I could have just stopped, I would have stopped a long time ago. Never in a million years did I ever plan on being a drug addict. You know, that was never in my plans, but you know, this is where it led us. And now I can say, you know, being such good friends with you guys, it's like, this has been a gift, you know, for all of us. And I can say that for all of us is because we've overcome this huge obstacle of near death experience, like being on the Titanic, and we're all surviving. And now I can speak for all 3 of us. We get to live a life of service and be good human beings and help other people.
Yeah. I mean, this podcast, what you guys are doing, it's like, we need more positivity. There's so much darkness and doom. And, you know, like if you watch news too often or for too long, you can get absolutely depressed because, you know, but I think, so that's for me, I like to gravitate and towards people and things that are more positive. And I'm grateful every day to wake up and I can actually live my life sober. Like it's nuts. I mean, so many times I could have died. So many times I could have ended up destroying everything. And I'm just, I'm really grateful for every day. When I say gratitude, I mean that shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You had a severe accident. You survived. Not only you survived addiction, you survived a severe accident. What happened?
I was crossing the street in Hollywood back in 2018, December 3rd. And somebody ran a red light, and I was just crossing the street, and he barreled into me at like 40 miles an hour. So I saw him out of the corner of my eye. It jumped up, which probably saved my life. Snapped my leg in half. I went through the windshield with my head, and there's a big scar right here. But people at Cedar Sinai very good at sewing that up. And I literally, they basically told me in the EMS truck that when I told them I could feel my toes, that I was one of the luckiest men they'd ever seen, that I had not been paralyzed or brain dead. Wow. And, I had to go through 2 hospitals, a lot of physical therapy, walking on a walker or a cane for 8 months. But I'm, now I got a metal rod in my leg, but I hike, and I'm very grateful, that I'm alive from that as well. Like if that wasn't enough of a wake-up call, but by the way, that didn't get me sober. It took more. Yeah. You know what I mean? The pandemic was a crazy time. A lot of people went through it. And I think that was one of the other reasons, like that, people were talking about it in the press, like Rolling Stone and Variety, was because there wasn't a lot of attention being given at that period because of COVID, how, just what a unbelievable threat and what was going on in everybody's lives. That addiction and alcoholism was like not, they weren't really publicizing how many people were dying and suffering from this disease at that period of time. It was crazy. Yeah. All I know is I'm grateful every day. And I'm a lucky dude. I mean, I am. And, I'm grateful. I pinch myself all the time. I'm like, first of all, you guys have me on here. How great is that? Like, I mean,
dude, you're here.
I get to hang out with 2 great comedians. I get to hang, my buds. And, it's so nice to be here, guys.
Greg was like, yeah, Matt Pinfield's going to come on. All right, we'll see. You're
like, I don't know, man. He's like B-list. Yeah. That dude's B-list.
Greg's legit. No.
And he's bald.
We have a little joke because I always pump you up. I'm like, oh, Matt Pinfield is my fucking boy or whatever. And he's like,
I'm always like, oh, is Matt Pinfield there? Whatever he says. Like, did you hang out with Matt Pinfield at the grocery store? Did you guys go to the zoo?
Greg's a superstar, man, and I love him so much because he, like I said, he helped me through so much. We spent a lot of time together during the pandemic too. Like,
I know. He tells me every time. Guess where I just was? Yeah. Let me guess. Hanging out with Matt Pinfield? Yeah, bro.
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff, right? We went and saw the Stones together so far.
Yeah, we took to the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, man. We went to a lot of shows. I mean, we were like
we've been to a lot of shows together.
And isn't that like one of the great things is when you get sober? I think a lot of misconception, we all know this is, a lot of people think they won't be able to have fun or they won't be able to be creative anymore or funny.
Yeah.
And it's not true, but it's a matter of finding the comfort zone.
Oh, totally. Dude, when I got out of rehab, the weekend I got out, I was booked in San Diego to headline this show, and I was like, how am I going to do this? I don't know how to do this. And it's just like a thing that I've had to work at. It's like doing comedy sober,
I would have been terrified too.
Oh, I was terrified.
Absolutely terrified. Like, where am I in my skin, man?
Yeah, I felt very like going back. I remember I YouTubed how to do stand-up comedy. And I've been doing it for like 16, 17 years. And I just went back to the basics of like, okay, how do I do this, man? Yeah. It's crazy.
You're crushing now. And it's so good. Thanks, and I'm so happy. And you know what? Like, you guys both, man, it proves we all learn, and there's so many people in recovery in comedy, right? And there's so many people in music and in every walk of life, every profession.
Yeah.
I love the fact that, you hear people say in recovery, you can do anything you want. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be an offensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers, but I think within your capabilities, you can achieve whatever you want. And for me, I'm going balls out on stand up. I just love to do it. You're having tremendous success in stand up. Your career is resurfaced, is resurged, and is going through the roof, man. And it's like these things are so incredible. But I think one of the biggest gifts that I think we all share now, being that we're clean and sober, is that we have the ability to help other people.
That's what I mean. It's so important. I mean, you helped me, and you know what? I mean, this helps me. Just like being with you guys and hanging out, and man, I'm very grateful. So that's what I try to give back. It's really important. And I mean, by being a public example, Greg, I know you have gone and spoken to people in institutions. You've talked to people everywhere, hospitals, and it's great because I follow in your footsteps, and I'm I'm a few years behind you, obviously, but I'm doing a lot of speaking and reaching out and being there for people. And I was a guy. You said that maybe I don't know 5 years ago. You'd be like, yeah, you wouldn't be betting on it. But I'm grateful. But it proves, and this is what I share with everybody. You can get clean and sober and really change your life at any age if you do the work and if you just power through some of those really painful and uncomfortable experiences and times. And everybody experiences that. And man, I'm just like, I know I only got today. In fact, I only got this minute, but I don't know what's going to happen. You know what? There might be a giant crater that hits the earth on my way out of here and wipes us out. But
I'm going to be on the Tonight Show. I don't want that. I want to film first.
He booked it. Dustin's going to be on the Tonight Show next Wednesday.
That's fantastic.
I found out Dustin. Today. It's crazy.
That's amazing, man. Oh, that's so great. Congratulations.
Thanks,
That is the coolest.
That's so huge.
I'm so happy, man. I am excited.
That wouldn't have happened if I was still drinking. I'm pretty positive that would not. I would have definitely messed it up.
It's so great.
Are you excited? Nervous? What's going on?
A little nervous, a little excited. It'll be cool. I know this.
You're gonna crush it. I mean, you're gonna be amazing. But that's the beauty of this. Getting clean and getting sober, man. It's like amazing how life can change, and you just.
I'm gonna throw some spiritual quotes. I went online. I found some inspirational quotes. I'm gonna throw it out to you and let's see what you guys have to say about it. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken.
That's Woody from Toy Story, right?
Yeah.
You say that?
Yeah. Who was that? That's Oscar Wilde.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
I was close.
I like Oscar Wilde. He's had some really great quotes over the years.
Here's a good one for both of you guys. Stay close to anything that makes you glad you are alive.
That's a great quote. I love that one.
That's good.
I guess that would be, the music, my girlfriend, family, and my friends, and all the guys in recovery that I hang out with.
Here's a good one for you guys. It took me quite a long time to develop a voice, and now that I have it, I am not going to be silent.
Ooh. Who said that, Greg?
That's Madeleine Albright.
That is a great line, and it's true. I think if the fact that we're clean and sober and we let people know. I'm so grateful to let people know. People will stop me at a Lakers or a Kings game here in town and go, dude, I just want you to know I'm also sober. And I really appreciate your positive posts.
That's cool, man.
And
That's
what, man, because I just let the world know I'm so happy to be here. And I know how close, we all get, to not making it through, and just destroying our lives and our, and ultimately, what they say. So some of the worst, if it can only get worse, sometimes. And if you're a full blown alcoholic or drug addict, there is a trap door on every bottom, but there is also a way up, and it's nothing more important than that and spreading the word, man. So that's great. What else, Greg?
Whatever you are, be a good one.
Oh,
yeah, I like that.
Be a good one. Yeah, that's a good.
Let's see.
Good quote. Yeah.
Who's that one? That's what we will fail when we fail to try. That's Rosa Parks.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
Here,
Okay. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Wow.
Yeah.
How did that make it up?
I like that one.
It's crazy. How did that make it on?
That was, of course, from some of my Jersey brethren out there. No question about it. Guys I grew up with.
He made up that line.
Don't forget to check the McDonald's bag to make sure you got your sauces when you order
always
McNuggets.
check the bag. Always check the bag before you leave.
It's all about the hot mustard sauce. The hot mustard sauce.
Oh, that's a good sauce.
It's so good.
Yeah. What's going on with you today, Matt?
I'm good, man. I just found out, and I announced that I'm going to be going and doing this, experience, we're at band experience with this company, which is called Vertigo Music. And they did Duran Duran on the roof of the Capitol Records building. It's 2 blocks from where I live. I wish I'd found them then already, because I could have done that and walked there. But, and then, they did Billy Idol at the Hoover Dam, and so now they're doing that great Icelandic band Kaleo, and it's at the Colosseum in Rome. And so I'm going to be DJing there, and I'm going to be working with those guys at the event and doing a bunch of things with them. So that's an exciting thing.
Are they going to make you wear a toga? That'd be kind of cool.
You know what?
You gotta wear that.
I think the world might not be ready for that, but
they're ready. They want it, man.
But I think you fight a tiger.
You never know. So yeah. And I'm just grateful, guys. I've been doing a lot of documentary stuff, and we were invited by the producers of the Lollapalooza documentary, my girlfriend Karen and I, to go up to Sundance. So we're flying up there, and we're going to go, watch the first part of it. It'll be on Paramount Plus when it comes out, but they've combined the first 2 episodes and been selected to be at Sundance. So that's great. And, I still do my radio shows, man. I'm on KLOS in LA. I do Flashback, which is a syndicated classic rock history show. It's on 180 FM stations in the US and Canada. And I keep on going. I do this other thing for Live One that you can hear in the Teslas. It's a weekly rock countdown. I'm great. I'm so grateful to be working, guys, because we go through, anybody in entertainment knows. I mean, there's certainly people that have been very lucky that they're always busy and always have things, but we've all gone through our highs and lows where we don't got anything going on or hardly anything going on to where there's quite a bit. And it's amazing that I can say today that, I'm actually busy and grateful and always looking for more work and to do more experiences, because now I'm sober and I can really be present for all the work that I do. And it's not to say that I was always fucked up, because I wasn't, you know what I mean? But, there was a lot of mishaps, and it was, how you can't control it once you're in it. Bro.
That whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde.
Yeah. So I was like, booze was not my friend, and drugs were not my friend.
I can honestly say that all 3 of us are staying in this room, talking together, having this conversation is miraculous.
It is.
We are lucky. The amount of stuff that we put in our bodies and the things that we've done, it's miraculous that we're alive. The final question we have for you, Matt, is you had a near-death experience with a car accident. You survived addiction. How has your outlook changed in life? My outlook changed that I really appreciate every single minute and day. And I let everybody know that I love them on a regular basis. It's really important for everyone that I care about to know how much they mean to me. That's friends. It's my family, my girlfriend, people that have inspired me. I feel like it's an unbelievable gift to have gotten sober. It's a miracle. And there's not a moment in my day that I don't sit there once in a while and go, God, I'm so blessed and so lucky to be here. And, with that, I'm just, it's just, sometimes it blows my mind, but I'm so thankful. And I just want everyone to know how much I appreciate them and how much I appreciate being alive. Man.
Well, let's close this out with the Serenity Prayer.
Yeah, we might have to. Yeah.
Man, Matt.
Nobody told me how to hold hands. I don't know.
What a beautiful story. What a beautiful message. The world is a better place with you in it.
It is, man. We're glad you're here, bro.
Love you guys, man. What a great hang this was, And I'm telling you something, Dustin, congratulations on the Tonight Show. And great, you're crushing it with the shows that you've been doing.
Thank you, man.
With the SNL alums and the people God, they're so great, those shows you're putting together, man.
The greatest.
And Comedy Gives Back, what a great organization.
Oh, the best,
God,
dude.
They're so cool. Every time I go, I buy a hat and I give it to somebody else. And guess what? I lost mine now. Jesus, that's winter for you when you're bald.
You've been supporting my comedy more than anything. And, it's, the great thing is that individually we're having, some sort of successes and it's great to be able to share it with great friends like you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. And thanks for having an unfunny guy on. Well, I'm not funny on purpose.
I was talking about Greg like, was that? I'm sorry.
Oh, Matt, thanks, man. We love you, bro.
Yeah, I love you guys. Thanks for having a short bald dude on from Jersey.
Peace.
Nice, man. That was awesome. I'm Dustin Ibarra.
I'm Greg Baldwin.
Find us on social media and on the web at goodthingspod.com.
You can also find us on Instagram and YouTube at Good Things Are Happening Podcast.
We're on Patreon. Sign up because we're going to have some cool stuff on there.
Like really, really, really cool stuff.
So dope we can't even talk about it yet. And remember, when life gets you down, good things are happening.
Good things are happening. Help somebody.